Hey, everybody. I want you to take a second and listen to the lovely quality coming through this microphone. Doesn't it sound great? Are you used to it? Good, because it's going to go away. Because I tried to do some new recording on this episode of the podcast using an application that was supposed to do multi-track recording. And it failed, so... so annoyed. Yeah, so the quality is not going to be quite as good in this episode, you guys. Sorry about that. Enjoy the rest of this episode. Hey, everyone, and welcome to the 47th episode of We're All in the Same Boat. I'm your host, Luke Roxwold, and today I am here with John.
Hi.
Shayne.
Woo!
Lucas.
Hey, everyone.
And Caleb.
Hey.
And as always, you can check us out on SoundCloud and iTunes, and tweet at us if you're a good fan, which we all know you are, at WAITSB Podcast, and leave us a review. I can't get that word right.
Review.
Every episode, I can't get that right. Leave us a review on SoundCloud and iTunes. So everybody, welcome to the podcast.
Sweet.
Thanks
Excited
for
to be
having
here.
us.
No problem. So we are going to kick right into the news. Today, we're talking about the biggest movie ever, according to Facebook. Infinity War. Now, I keep calling this movie Infinity Wars, and everybody...
Wrong.
I know.
Infinity
They're like,
War.
oh, is there more than one war?
Wrong.
So
The Infinity War.
the multiple
Infinity
wars.
War.
So, just some context. Everybody here has seen it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have not thought through the best way to organize this, but for the listeners, there will be all spoilers. We're going to talk about that, all the spoilers throughout the entire episode. So if you haven't watched it, you're running out of time. You just
Listen at your own risk.
Yes.
Because we will spoil the entire movie.
Yeah, speaking of spoilers,
And-
I saw like someone on Facebook, like before I saw this movie, literally just posted a list of spoilers. I know.
Spoilers.
Always gonna be that one guy.
I know.
So I have a
Yo.
group of friends that we talk on the phone pretty much every day, like while we're working. And one of my friends got on the phone, and three of the other guys on the phone had not seen the movie yet. And this guy gets on the phone. The first thing he says is, "Man, everybody dies in this movie." And I was like, "What the heck is he saying? Why would he spoil this movie?" for
Oh
you guys?"
man.
Luckily, I had already seen it, but he just jumped straight on the phone and just threw out spoilers. And then since they tried to like kick him off the phone, like not seeing that, he sent him a text message with like the Infinity War the poster, and the poster had
Oh
the
no.
word "dead" next to everybody who died.
Oh no.
Oh,
Okay,
that's
see
good.
that's the real spoiler, right? Because like
Yeah.
I feel like the sentence "everybody dies" it's such an over the top, almost exaggerated saying. Like Mark Ruffalo, didn't he like a
Is
year
it
ago
though?
almost in an interview?
Yeah.
He spoiled the whole movie. And I remember hearing about it a year ago, and people were
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you might have spoiled it," but it was also one of those like, it could be so silly that maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't. Also, like, is anyone actually dead? It's all Jon Snow to me.
Yeah.
That was like my feeling walking out. I was like, oh, it was acted very well. Tom Holland crushed it, especially, but like, also that was improvised. He totally improvised that.
I heard that.
which
I
was
heard that.
cool. They told him,
Awesome.
they said, act like you know what's happening, but they didn't give him the line. All the lines.
They just said you don't want to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh wait, when he
At
was
the very end.
Oh, you know what? That
As he's
did seem
disappearing.
really real. So that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
really cool. And I do want to say, we will get into that because I do have that as like a bullet to talk about. But I do want to go back to spoilers for 1 second because I'm going to just say it that there is no such thing as a funny spoilers joke.
Mm.
There's
What do you
nothing.
mean?
Like,
Amen.
here's what happens. Okay, this happens to me all the time. It's so annoying. For example, okay, someone on Facebook said, spoiler, Iron Man dies at the end, ha ha ha. Like,
Yeah. No.
Okay, so he doesn't, right?
Mhm.
But here's the problem with that.
Or does he?
If you tell me a spoiler that's a real spoiler, it spoils it. Okay, if you tell me a spoiler that's definitely not a spoiler, then I also get it spoiled because now I know that doesn't happen. So they're like, "Oh, well, look, it's not a spoiler." Okay, so now I know he lives. Thanks. You know, it's like, oh, it's so
what's your position on theories that spoil the film, though?
Those are shaky. I'd prefer someone ask before they say like, "Well, I read the comics and here's what happens."
Yeah,
because that's like I read the movie script, so I know the ending, and it's like, I guess it's a little different, but
So you would prefer people that have prior knowledge to the event. That even though, because the movies aren't always based on the comic book, we do know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is very different from the actual comic universe.
Yeah.
So you would prefer either way for them not to talk about it.
You just have to be careful.
Don't say anything until I see the movie.
There's a spoiler threshold because it's like if it's been 3 weeks and you haven't seen it, that's your fault.
Yeah.
But if it's the next day and you're spoiling the movie,
well, yeah, it's the next day. But we're talking about prior to the movie even being released at this point.
Right.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, if someone had read the comics, don't tell me what happens in the comics.
Caleb, what do you think?
Well, there's this whole movement that I've seen of it's not even, and I think comics related stuff I'm totally on board with. If you've read the comics, you know where this is going. Don't talk to me about it. I'm not a comics person. I'm a movie person. But you've got shows like Westworld where fans construct all these theories. I'm not going to say anything. I know Westworld spoilers for anyone.
I love that show.
It's an amazing show. But there was this hilarious joke that Jonathan Nolan played, and everyone bought into it. There were all these tweets about it where he was like, he goes on Reddit and he says, "We are very hurt by fans who create spoilers on accident because there's all these Reddit fan theories. So what we're going to do is we're going to post every spoiler possible for season 2. And it ends up being a link to, I think it was Evan Rachel Wood singing "We're Never Gonna Give You Up" by Rick Astley. So it's totally Rickroll. It was hilarious. It was amazing. But there is apparently this conversation online of people who really don't like people who just create theories that end up being right, and they see them as spoilers. I don't know what y'all think about that, but it's an interesting
It
topic.
is kind of, the only thing I don't like about it is that if I never so Westworld, I'm not going to give any spoilers. We're gonna stop this conversation on that show really soon. But like the spoilers, like the things that happen, I never would have guessed them. Okay, and if someone else had guessed it, it would have clicked on the possibility of that, like those twists, and then they would be in the back of my mind, and then it wouldn't surprise me. And so that I would rather just go in without knowing anything, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And that's why, taking the conversation back to the Avengers, I don't even really talk or think about what may or may not happen coming up. I mean, people can, and that's fine. It's just, for me, I don't prefer it because, like Luke just said, it gets in your head as a possibility. And then when it happens, you're like, okay, I had myself primed.
You're like, Johnny was right. He was the one who said this was going to happen, and it did. Ruined.
Yeah, see, I'm on the opposite side. I loved it. A couple of my friends, actually, the week before the movie came out, we were sitting around the table just trying to figure out, all right, who do you think is going to die? What do you think is going to die? What's going to happen? I enjoy doing stuff like that. And especially for
that's fine.
Especially for the Marvel movies, I like being able to go back to what happened in the comic books because I did read a lot of the comic books as a kid. My dad was an avid comic book reader when he was young, and he kept like a lot of the comics. And so when I was growing up, I read a lot of his comic books. So I know a lot of stuff that's supposed to happen, and so I like relating what we think is supposed to happen and what we think will actually happen, and just trying to figure out what's going to happen in the movie, and then just actually going on and watching it and finding out that what we thought was going to happen, what was going to happen, what did happen. Sometimes it's linked, other times it's not even close. But I will say for this particular movie, I loved how it connected with the comic books at the end, at least.
Right. Before we get into that, John, what's your opinion on spoilers?
I don't want to have anything to do with it. That doesn't matter if it's real or not. I just don't want to hear anything.
Yeah. So you're like in my boat where it's like
I don't even want to hear if someone liked it before I've seen it.
Oh really? Oh, that's a whole other level. It is. It is when they go. You will not expect it. Then it's kind of like, well, now I kind of know to like that something's. So Star Wars 8. I knew everyone hated it, like fans hated it, but a lot of people also liked it.
Mhm.
And so the whole time I'm watching it, it actually worked for this film, but the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just like expecting something nuts to happen. So when Luke gets shot, I thought he died. And I was like, that's it. This is why everyone hates this movie. And then it didn't happen. And then the movie ended and I was like, well, that was fine. And I didn't know what everyone hated about it, you know? That's kind of an example of how not even a spoiler can kind of get in the way. And to kind of piggyback into the next topic a little bit, that's kind of what happened with Black Panther for me. And I know we're going to talk about this a little because it was so hyped that to me it just was like, yeah, I mean, it's fine. It was an okay movie. And,
blasphemy. That's just blasphemy.
I know people say,
Well,
That's just blasphemy.
it's like it was like a 7 out of 10. It was fine. It was a good movie.
yeah, I agree with
I
Luke.
mean, 7 out of 10 is more than fine.
That's like average for Marvel, though.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was much better than that, but
But look at the reviews. Look at the reviews for that movie. It's like the reviews for Black Panther are higher than The Dark Knight, and it's like, are you kidding? No, that's not. It's not even close.
Yeah, as a film, Black Panther has a lot of issues, and I think people will give it a lot of praise because of the hype.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
Twice. Yeah, I saw it twice, and the second time I walked out like, like I wasn't as enthralled the second time.
I saw it once. Who saw it more than once? Shayne?
I saw it twice.
Lucas?
I've only seen it once.
Okay, and then John, you saw it one time?
Once.
Okay.
Both times I saw it, I thought it was an excellent movie.
I mean,
Like,
don't get me wrong.
You don't think
I'm
it's
still
the
gonna
best
watch
Avengers
Blu-ray.
movie, do you?
The best Avengers movie?
Marvel movie.
Or
Best Marvel movie?
Yeah, best Marvel.
It's well, after seeing Infinity War, it's still part of my top 3. I would say Black Panther.
Oh, you like Infinity War more than Black Panther?
Yes, Infinity War. Before we get into Infinity War, I do believe
there's a lot.
There's a lot that can be said about that, but Black Panther, I think, is tied with Captain America: Winter Soldier. Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is solid.
Yeah,
I
agree.
like
Winter
that one.
Soldier's like the best.
Okay, here's something I want to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say, Lucas?
I was gonna say that is before this last few months. Winter Soldier was my bona fide number 1. Can't even be touched because it was just so good, and the way it related to the audience and how like something like that. It's almost like realistic, but it's not at the same time. Like, is there some secret government inside of our government that we don't know about? It's just like I love the way
the soundtrack was awesome too, and the cinematography and the action and
it was an all-around excellent movie.
I saw Winter Soldier 3 times in theaters. That's what
oh man, nice. That leads me into what I was going to say because you were talking about good movies versus bad movies and which Marvel movies to skip. That was something we were talking about before we even started recording.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to make this too difficult of a question because there's too many movies. But which Marvel Cinematic Universe movie is the worst?
Do the Incredible Hulk movies count? Either one of those count?
Let's say no. Because
I don't even include that in the universe.
Because it's not even the same guy. So
it's not.
The only person who's the same is that general guy. So it's just like
yeah.
So no, let's not count the Hulk. Even though I thought the movie was fine, but
no, both of those movies are horrible. But that's just my opinion.
I saw it so long ago.
I initially thought before the MCU really blew up and before Mark Ruffalo came in as the Hulk, I thought the Incredible Hulk for a while was actually better than the first Iron Man. That's my super controversial opinion.
I'd say Iron Man is one of the best Marvel films out.
I've kind of redefined my position on it. I'm still not the biggest fan of the first Iron Man, but I was younger. You got to understand, we were all way younger.
Right. Well, because I didn't love Iron Man, but looking back, I'm like, yeah, that one's probably one of the best.
Yeah, retrospectively, I think I have a lot of respect for it now. I mean, not only for what it did for the MCU, especially, I mean, my gosh, you put that side by side with Warner Brothers and what they're doing with their universe, it's insane. But for me, I was all about the action back then, right? And you gotta admit, the Abomination versus Incredible Hulk, that final showdown, they're both at 100% health points. They're going at it, and you look at freaking Tony Stark versus that Jeff Bridges guy. They're these 2 old dudes. They're playing with the robots. There's no huge stakes. Tony's starting it at 20% health points. And I just didn't like to see my hero like that. But I was young, and I was kind of like that. I was looking for that excitement.
Yeah.
Retrospectively,
2008. It was 2008. Right. 10 years ago.
10 years ago. Yeah.
I always like the backstory and the development of characters, and I think they did a really good job developing Tony Stark in that movie, which I think is why it's such an incredible movie and why it was such a great launching pad for the whole, Marvel Cinematic Universe.
But which is the worst movie? We're not talking about the best.
The worst. So taking away the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, because that one's so old and it barely even counts. So.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. So I would say Iron Man 2 or 3, probably 3. Probably 3. Iron Man 3 is the worst.
Okay. Shayne, what about you?
What's the worst movie?
Marvel movie, yeah. What's the worst movie ever?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of them, but my least favorite is probably the first Captain America. I'm pretty sure I fell asleep, which is sad because I love Captain America. He's my favorite character,
especially since you liked Winter Soldier so much.
Yeah, that's why I think that's why I liked Winter Soldier so much from the get-go. I'm like, oh great, something that's not like
I agree,
boring to me.
The first Captain America is definitely down there.
Yeah.
What about you?
I would say it's a tie between first Captain America and Thor: Dark World, the second Thor.
Really? You didn't like that one?
Oh, I forgot about the second Thor.
Exactly. What Luke just said defines it completely. I mean, it's just it wasn't awful. Like I think that maybe Iron Man 2 I was more mad at while watching it, but it was the most forgettable of all of them. I don't think about it. It has very little to do with the rest aside from that post-credit scene with the Collector. It wasted Chris Eccleston, I thought.
The post-credit scene.
You realize
the film's okay if you count the post-credit scene.
the second Thor movie introduces the Reality Stone, though. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things to where it has a giant impact on the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Sure, but that doesn't make it a good movie. Though. You don't have any idea what's going on. Like
you don't. We didn't. I didn't. Maybe.
Well.
Which one was it though? Did you say Thor was your second Thor was your least favorite?
It was a tie between the second Thor probably and the second Iron Man. I mean, I didn't like the first Captain America, and I probably had the most visceral negative reaction to the first Captain America because I went to see that at midnight. It was I think the last of those original Avengers, right? Like I think it was that, and then the first Avengers film comes out. So we're there, we're excited. We're like, what could this possibly bring us?
They're all wearing America flags.
Right.
America!
And it's the most family-friendly, safe film you could imagine. Oh, my goodness. I don't need... God. Yeah, snooze fest indeed.
So really that one, it sounds like... And so
that one like elicits anger when you think about it too much, I think.
Yeah. John, what about you?
Thor: Dark World.
Yep.
Wow.
The second Thor.
I hated the first Thor movie. I was not a big fan of that one at all.
I really liked the first one.
I actually liked the first Thor movie.
I watched it again I
thought it was really funny. It was actually funny. I have to watch it again because I haven't watched it in a long time.
That is literally the only redeeming quality about that movie. Everything else about it sucks.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the thing. Thor 2 is basically Thor 1, except it's not funny at all. It's so awful. I hated that movie.
Yeah.
I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Kat Denning made me want to die. She was so irritating in that movie. Hated her. But I don't know if that's my least favorite because I also really hated Captain America. It was such a waste. It could have been good, and it was just not good. Like it's not. Once again, it's like a 60 out of 100 or something, or a 50 out of 100.
Sure.
But it's just as a movie, I watched it just disappointed the entire movie of this scene could have been great, and they were all bad. Nothing impressed me about that movie.
Well, what you were saying, the question that you asked earlier was what movie can be skipped. And here's the thing. Spoiler alert, I almost said the first Captain America movie. But the fact of the matter is the bad guy shows up in Infinity War. So that is the only redeeming quality of Captain America, the first movie.
Yep.
Because the bad guy shows up. And to know who he is, you have to watch first Captain America.
But that's pretty pathetic, though. If that's the only reason.
Exactly. Well,
I mean, Thor: Dark World. I think Thor: Dark World. That one, I forgot that movie existed. I really did. I was like, oh crap, yeah, that movie. I hated it, and I could. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the thing, though. When you think about what movie can be skipped, I mean, Black Panther is also my top 3 in the Marvel universe, but I still think that could be skipped because it just doesn't have. Well, it depends on what you mean by can be skipped. It can be skipped when it comes to seeing Infinity War, because I don't think it had that much bearing on Infinity War aside from presenting Wakanda.
What can be skipped? What's the minimal you can watch to be ready for Infinity War?
Oh yeah, skip Black Panther, Ant-Man. Easily.
I don't think you can skip Black Panther. I
mean, not in terms of like it's a bad movie, skip it. But you don't need to know anything in that movie to watch Infinity Wars.
Yeah,
well, you have to have a general understanding of the technology that Wakanda has in order to find out why in the world they would take Vision there in the first place.
Right.
I feel like it's gonna matter more in the next one, movie.
I can see that.
Considering that he's dead.
Spoiler alert.
Considering that he's coming back.
My biggest beef with Infinity War was the lack of Wakanda. I mean, lack of Captain America, probably first and foremost, but lack of Wakanda because, and obviously it was because we all just saw it. We all were inundated in it.
Yeah, but I felt like I wanted Black Panther to take place less on Wakanda, to be honest with you. I wanted to. I said this in my. So we reviewed this on one of our other podcasts. Yeah, like I wanted to see. Like, I really like that scene in England when they're, like, robbing the place, and he's got, like, that African mask, and it had, like, that African feel, but it was in the city. I really liked that, and then it went to Wakanda, and I was like, great, it's Avatar again.
I like the...
like, that's what it felt like.
When they were in, was it Korea, or...
I only saw it once, so I don't remember.
Yeah, where they're at the...
with the really wide shots and the choreographed fights with the...
That was my favorite part of the movie, yeah.
Yeah, that part was sweet, too. I like that a lot.
I thought it was all around a great movie.
Wait, John, what were you saying, though? You were saying what movies you have to watch. You have to watch Captain America 1. I feel like you have to watch the first movie of each one.
I feel like you can skip Captain America 1.
I say skip it because I don't like it.
I feel like you can just start with Marvel's The Avengers.
I think you can skip the first Avengers movie.
Are you trying to figure this out for the person you want to go see Infinity War with?
I already figured out my list.
What? It's too much to think about. So go ahead and tell us your list, and we'll just criticize you for it.
All right. So I'm starting with Iron Man because he's so important, right? He's the main guy, right?
Yeah. And it was like the first one.
Ignore Hulk. Do a recap of Iron Man 2, which just look up a YouTube video or whatever. Watch Thor.
What's Iron Man 2? It's just explosions.
It's just so I made a bunch of robots and it's a mistake.
Basically.
It's like mini Age of Ultron.
Yeah, it is.
Skip
which I also don't remember any of that movie, by the way, Age of Ultron, even though
I also wasn't very high on Age of Ultron either.
I have a funny reason, though, that I don't remember it, and I've said this on the podcast before. It's because I went to see Age of Ultron during senior week of graduation, so we were like in the theater that has like alcohol and stuff, and I was just with all my friends, and we're all like laughing, getting drinks and stuff, and like we didn't even, like the movie was up there, and that's the only time I've watched it. So my brother asked me, like, what did you think of the movie? And I was like, I don't know. Because I just don't remember it.
You should probably go back and watch them.
Yeah, I think I remember it being like pretty good, like a solid 70 movie.
That way you can be disappointed while you're sober.
Yeah.
Anyway, John, keep going. So,
all right, I'm just gonna list the movies that I plan on watching: Iron Man, Thor, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, 100%. Winter Soldier, Doctor Strange.
Oh, true.
Wait, why
Civil
Doctor
War.
Strange? What does that add?
Doctor Strange.
The power of the Time Stone.
Everything so much about Infinity War.
Doctor Strange is awesome.
To be fair, every movie has a little bit of something that could help you learn more, but do you need to watch Doctor Strange?
Yes.
Yeah, why? I feel like you need it because I
literally could watch Infinity War without watching Doctor Strange.
Watch Doctor Strange, I don't feel like missed much from not watching it.
That's probably because you haven't seen Doctor Strange.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't know.
But I think maybe you do, because after watching Infinity War, I said, "Ooh, I want to go watch Doctor Strange."
Yeah,
that was my first thought after.
Yeah,
I think any movie that introduces an Infinity Stone should be watched.
I disagree because like I didn't know what half those Infinity Stones did in Infinity War, and I didn't care.
But this one like explicitly talks about it's like the Infinity Stone is very central in Doctor Strange, whereas I don't know, Thor 2, it's not that a part of it. And obviously the movies with the Tesseract have to be watched, but they don't know what that is. So I'll agree with you there. But this is literally like there's the time stone, and we're well enough into the Avengers series that we know what.
Yeah, but like any of those movies, it's like if someone jumped in and watched, they'd go, "Oh, the shiny blue thing. I get it. They got to get the shiny blue thing." They don't need to know what it does. They just need to know it's important.
I don't know. I think that
it helps if you know more, but
in order to understand how Thanos is doing what he's doing in Infinity War, you should have an understanding of what the Infinity Stone.
You should know what each stone kind of does.
Yeah, and the only way you can figure that out without having prior knowledge of the comic books, the only way you can figure that out, that why, like for example, why can he just jump around the universe like he can? Well, it's because he has a space stone. That's right.
Yeah.
Why is it that he can alter reality? Because he got the ether, the reality gem from the collector.
Yeah, but I kind of just assumed he's got power now.
I don't think that's important in terms of like to see the movie and to understand it, but I do think it's important in terms of having a better experience and to understand it better. But I don't think you need to know, like we said. But it's just it helps you be more aware.
But the other thing about it is if you know each stone in general, like for example, you can see in the movie how he gains the new powers with each new gem. Without knowing what each new gem does, you don't understand why he has that power. You just think,
that was me. That's what I thought during the movie because I didn't know what the gems did, so I just watched and go, "Oh, I guess you can just do that now." But I didn't know specifically which gem he used. But I don't know that matters.
So what I'm saying is, if you go back and if you have that prior information of knowing what the gems do, then you can see in the movie step by step, gem by gem, what they're doing.
Okay, so John, just to continue what you were saying, you said Doctor Strange, and then what's after Doctor Strange?
That's Infinity War. That's the end of the list.
Oh, no Ragnarok?
No Ragnarok.
I feel like
no Homecoming.
That leads right into. I
guess the breaking of the hammer, but I feel like you could skip Ragnarok.
Well, the only thing I would say is it leads directly in Infinity War with the
that's true.
The ship, Thor and the ship.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the Thor movies, but I was really confused when Infinity War started. I said, "Wait, what is happening?" I feel like this is picking up from something. I'm really confused. I thought they still have the Tesseract. I thought that was long gone. Like, what's happening? So I was confused. That first scene, and then Hulk showed up. I said, "Whoa, I missed something."
Yeah, Ragnarok, I think, explains a lot of that.
Ragnarok's one of my favorites. You should definitely watch it.
It's really funny. It's
Ragnarok. Here's the thing.
Oh, yeah, that's. I made a Facebook post after I saw the movie. I said, okay, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I've been sleeping on Thor and Doctor Strange, and I need to get informed because
they're worth watching. One of the reasons that Caleb is on this podcast right now is because I posted a slightly controversial Facebook post, partially just to be controversial to see who would respond. And then Caleb responded, and that's why I was like, "Hey, come on the podcast." And I was saying that I enjoyed Infinity War for specific reasons that we'll get into more than Ragnarok. I enjoyed it more than Black Panther. I enjoyed it more than Doctor Strange, and I enjoyed it more than Homecoming.
I agree.
All those movies I thought were fine movies, but Infinity War is the first Marvel movie that did what I've been trying to get Marvel to do, like what I've been saying they need to do. And you can go back and listen to our old podcast because I say this in the Spider-Man Homecoming review, and I said this in the Black Panther review. I wanted them to attack the characters that I cared about because they never do that. And I wanted them to lose, and I wanted them to wanted the stakes raised. I wanted it to actually be funny because all these movies, they're not funny to me. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was funny, and then none of the other movies have been funny to me. They're just like cringy jokes that I can see old people laughing at.
But that's what you go to Marvel.
No, this movie was actually funny.
No.
I thought this movie was so funny.
Funny-wise, comedy-wise, it was definitely the funniest.
But it was also super serious. You know what I mean? Like when you compare the humor to this to like the only bad joke I remember in this movie was when they were talking about Wakanda getting bigger, and she's like, "Oh, maybe we could get a Starbucks."
Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah.
That's so awful.
And I
hate that crap.
That's what Marvel is known for.
I thought that Starbucks
they weren't before though. I'm sorry.
Was more cringy just after like the whole Starbucks incident that's been going on. I said that's funny that's in the movie after, like what Starbucks is going through now.
Oh yeah, you're right about that.
That's actually hilarious.
I hadn't even connected those. That is funny.
Interesting. Well, okay, real quick.
I've said my opinions.
I now, Luke. I'm now more or less on your side in this. I wasn't in your. So y'all, like when I saw that status, I was like, well. So let's be fair though. Luke,
I know.
Literally,
I push buttons.
It lists the 4 films and it says Black Panther, no. Homecoming, no. Doctor Strange, no. Infinity War, yes. So that was where I was like, all right, like you could like it more than those films, that's fine. But don't go no on some of the best things Marvel's done.
No, because they were so hyped up and it was like they were all good, but they weren't like these amazing movies. And this one hit the points that I wanted to.
Let me ask you this question, Luke. When did you go see Black Panther? Did you go on opening night, or did you wait like 3 weeks, like everybody else, and then go see it?
What difference?
Who waited 3 weeks?
It makes a huge difference. And
Yeah.
here's why. Okay,
Why?
so because the amount of hype that goes in the movie is increased if you don't go see it on opening night. And here's why I say that. Everybody that went and saw it the first day, they just had a set level of expectations. Yeah, nobody really believes what the critic says. I mean, the critics are idiots. They rate some movies great and they rate other movies really bad, and this doesn't make any sense. So nobody really believes what the critics say, in my opinion. But when people start going on Facebook and talking about this is the greatest movie ever, or this is such a good movie, all those different things, your expectations get raised. So after hearing that for 3 weeks, you're going in there expecting this to be the most amazing movie in the world, and it's a really great movie, but it's not the best movie in the world. So it actually goes well below the expectation that you put in your head because you've been hearing this is the greatest movie in the world for the last 3 weeks. Whereas you went and saw it on opening night, or even within the first few days, you're not having 3 weeks of everybody saying, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest movie in the world."
However, just as a counter, when I go see things like that opening night, the hype of the crowd and the people I'm with can make me like a movie more than or think a movie's better than it actually is.
Because it's the experience.
Because you're hyped up, and so I've seen movies that I loved at the time, and then I went back and watched them, and was like, "Oh yeah, this isn't that great."
Yeah,
but you're right. You are right. You are right about that.
I'll say this
to Luke's point. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say to Luke's point. When I saw Black Panther, I think I saw it opening weekend. I'm pretty sure I saw it this opening week, and everyone was hyped up. People were coming in costumes, showing up with their entire families, and it was awesome. And it was hyped up, and I enjoyed it a lot. I saw it a few weeks later, the second time, without all of the hype of the crowd, and I didn't enjoy it as much. I didn't think it was any worse than I thought the first time, but I didn't enjoy it as much the second time because there was a lot less hype around me, and I also had a lot less hype going into it.
Right.
Well, here's my question to that, and this is I'm going to say the same thing about Infinity War because I've actually seen Infinity War twice already.
But I'm still being Killmonger for Halloween, so whatever.
So my
Killmonger was great.
Yeah.
Killmonger was incredible. He was such an incredible bad guy, which is one of the big defining things of the Black Panther. This is my opinion, of course. But after seeing a movie twice, I think seeing it the second time, you're never going to have as much hype, or it's never going to be as good as the first time you saw it.
I agree. I would agree I would agree in
that.
most cases, but there are movies that when I watch them more often, I actually like them more.
Yeah.
But see, the only movies I ever have experienced that with are not with movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be like movies that are just straight stupid. Like, for example, Nacho Libre. Nacho Libre
or Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, it's one of those.
Edgar Wright. I was going to say Baby Driver. Well, anything that's Edgar Wright, you watch it more, it's better.
Oh, yeah.
It's like these movies that have like the dumbest humor, and the more you watch it, the dumber it gets, and it's just for whatever reason, it's just really funny. Those are the kind of movies that are good the second time around, that you enjoy it as much, if not more, than the first time. But I think these types of movies that, especially for example, Infinity War, it's not going to be anywhere near as good the second time around because everything.
Really? You think that? I think I'm going to like it more when I go see it again.
I thought the same thing, but I went and saw it a second time.
Well, I'm gonna have more context the next time I see it.
That very well could be the case. But going in,
I agree with Lucas here. It's Lucas, right? Sure I'm getting the names right. Okay, I agree with Lucas here. If you have the maximum context going in a second time, I mean, here's the thing: you got to be real. It's a 2-hour, 45-minute film, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is a smorgasbord. And it's not the smorgasbord that 2 was, the Age of Ultron was. That was literally like you could tell the suits that Disney were like, more robots now, and Joss Whedon was like, no, and there was this clear. Now here you didn't see the Russo brothers. I think have this incredible relationship with the execs at Disney that they're able to get what they want done and still satisfy.
They're not letting Disney Pirates of the Caribbean these films.
Exactly. Yeah. There isn't that. And I honestly, I think that, but at the same time, I will not see Infinity War a second time, probably until it is released on Redbox, because I don't want to put myself through that, just because it's such a long film. And I don't think it was such an epic experience. And that brings the reason that I even took issue with the status Luke posted is I see Infinity War as something that isn't even like in the category of film. It's an amazing event. It's an experience. It's like the Xbox achievement where the 18 films before this, there have been articles for years saying, when will the Marvel bubble burst? And it never has. And it's grown and it's this beast. And we're all experiencing massive success. And on some level, we're part of it. And that's why I think it will forever be in its own league, which is why I can't really compare it to the other ones.
Yeah, I can say that because I get that aspect of it, and I agree with it, where it is like, it's kind of a weird film because you don't have to give a lot of context to any of the characters, but it's kind of like a TV show. And what I've been saying and what I've been disappointed about I've been saying that the Marvel movies have been blending together for a long time, where I watch it and it's like, this is like cliche good. They're all good movies, but I watch them and I go, but it's expected. They're cookie cutter good to me, where it's like, yeah, you figured out something that works and you keep doing the same sort of movie over and over again. And so what I was saying was, like, when they made Avengers 1, it was the first time they got all the heroes together, and they were like, okay, and then all the heroes fight robots that are going to destroy the city. And it's like, cool, that was fun to see it the first time. Then they go, we got to raise the stakes. Now the city's floating! And they're going to destroy the world. And then the next one, it's like, and he's going to destroy the universe. And the way they raise the stakes is just by making more robots and more explosions and more. And it's like, this is not raising the stakes. You need to attack the characters. It's kind of like what spoilers, Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen it, you took too long. The way they raise the stakes is okay. I won't say it, but it's not a major spoiler. The way they raise the stakes is bringing it back to the characters you care about. That's how the ending season is. They bring it all back very close, all the characters that are connected, and that's how they make things intense. And with this movie, I finally felt that. I haven't felt that in a Marvel movie yet, where I was like. Even though they were still destroying the world.
I think that's because they were leading up to this. You gotta understand.
I get that.
I feel like when they first made the Marvel movies, they always had this in mind. Wasn't it at the end of the first Iron Man? Sorry, at the end of the first Iron Man, that's when he ran into I forgot who it was. Was it Coulson?
I think it was Nick Fury.
Was it Nick Fury? And they talked about the Avengers Initiative. This has always been in the works.
Yeah, I mean, we've known about Thanos since before Avengers 1. Like Thanos has been talked about forever.
So
they have been hyping this for so long.
Thanos.
Yeah, so I think that what you're saying by like them upping the level, I think it was all building up to this point. Like, for each movie was meant to be cliche because it had to lead to this point, because you can't attack the characters.
Which is good, because if they had not done this in this film, I kind of would probably be done with Marvel. I'd be like, you're doing the same movie. You have to, like, I was so glad that Thanos won at the end. I was like, I want Empire Strikes Back ending. Yeah. Where everybody loses. So that's one of the reasons I was really happy.
I think Thanos is the protagonist of Infinity War.
I've heard that said before. Yeah, I've heard that said before.
Movie. It's Thanos' movie. The most developed character.
So we're here. Well, let's talk about this movie. Let's go ahead and talk about Infinity.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So Thanos is the main character.
He goes through the hero's journey. For every hero story we've ever read, from Beowulf to Hercules to Odysseus, it's this concept of he has this quest he's going on. There are obstacles that stand in his way. He has to make grand sacrifices at one point or another that are very costly to him. Maybe it's someone very close to him dying. In this case, they really raise the stakes. If you look at it from that lens, him killing his own daughter to accomplish his task. And you gotta also, I mean, his perspective is that what he's doing is for the benefit of the universe. It's
that's what I loved. I was like, I get it. I get what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like I feel
it's environmentalism, but taken to a terrorist level. But like from his lens, this terrorist still thinks he's doing the right thing, and he sits down and watches that sunset at the end. It's
I love how he says like, yes, half the universe is going to die, but it's a coin flip. Like it's fair.
Yeah.
It's not like he's choosing. It's just whoever dies, and then we move on.
He's not killing people. Yeah.
Right.
And I was like, I feel you. I don't like you, but I feel you.
Now my big question is, why doesn't he double the size of every world and like quadruple their amount of resources?
Because then gravity would be too high, and they'd all get
the
smushed.
exact same question. I was like, this dude has the power of the Infinity Gauntlet. He has the power of everything at his hands. Like he could just double all the resources. Why not just
give?
Like double the resources. Why just kill everybody? But some people are just half glass half empty type people. So
hey, pun intended with half empty because half the water's gone. Kind of like the universe. It's just
that's a bit of a reach.
You're a bit of a
your mom's a bit of a reach.
Hey, stop! That's enough. Okay, so Infinity War.
I absolutely loved Thanos in this movie. He was an incredible villain. He was that villain that you almost find yourself rooting for in a weird way.
He was the calm villain too. He's not one of those nutso villain. Like okay, so take the villain in Thor Ragnarok. Nothing. I don't care about her at all.
Yeah.
It's totally boring. Just evil for no reason. Destroy the world for no reason. But like Thanos, he was so, and his performance was so good. He was like a grandfather kind of character.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved him. I thought he was so good.
Yeah, he bends down with Gamora when she's young, and he's trying to show her the little knife or whatever.
That was kind of sadistic. That was
so good though. I love that scene. Like,
he's protecting her.
All the people are dying behind him. Oh, that was so cool.
Yeah,
I love that. So Loki dying at the beginning. That was kind of like came out of nowhere.
Great opening.
He really did.
Do you think he could? Yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about the deaths is I'm pretty sure everyone's coming back, so it's it's not as disappointing.
I wonder how many of these
I don't
people
know. I don't think
Loki's done
back because
Don't say he didn't sign up for the other movies.
No. Thanos said that there'll be no resurrection this time, and everything Thanos said in this film that he said was going to happen happened. So he's not coming back.
I also think Loki's been resurrected enough already. Like I'm done with him as
let
a
it go.
viewer.
Let it go.
Because I forgot the movie. Did he die in Thor 2?
I think he didn't he at some point. Yeah.
He supposedly died in Thor 2.
Because then in Thor 3 he's coming back, and as a viewer you're like, oh wait, this is a thing. And it's fine. I just think the Loki was almost a fan service type character, but not for comic fans, but for people who are just obsessing over him, Tom Hiddleston and whatnot. Tom's got more going on.
I don't think it's
not
back.
Loki.
I wonder.
Idris Elba too.
I also wonder if Gamora's coming back. And let me just say this: that was one of my So I loved every aspect of Infinity War. I thought it was a great movie. I think one of the most gut wrenching moments for me was that scene where he had to choose to kill Gamora in order to obtain.
I didn't think he was gonna do it.
Oh, I knew he was gonna do it. She was going off that cliff one way or the other.
I knew he was gonna do it, but I was like, "There's no way."
When she was like laughing, and she's like, when she was like, "Ha ha ha." You don't care about anyone. Then he shed the tear. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I was like, he's doing it. He's doing it.
Well, I knew that was as soon as I got there, I'm like, this is a scene where she dies. She's gonna die.
Yep.
She has to die. I don't want her to die. She's one of my favorite characters, but she's gonna have to die. And then as soon as the Red Skull, which is a Captain America one, by the way, but as soon as the Red
seeing
Skull,
him show up again.
I know that was weird. That was random too. But as soon as he said it required a sacrifice, I knew at that moment I was like, oh god, Gamora's dying.
Yep.
She's dead. Why do they got to do this?
Where the fuck did he get his cloak?
That was a sweet look, wasn't it?
That was what's his name though from The Walking Dead, which was kind of
question about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Was he floating? I felt like when he first showed up, he was floating.
Yeah, he looked like a Dementor.
He was definitely
That's what I thought.
But then if you actually saw him at the top with Thanos, he's walking. Like you can see his two legs.
And a little Death Eater comes out of nowhere and just floats down. Like, okay, we're in Harry Potter world now.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if he was supposed to be floating or if he was supposed to be walking or if that was just like bad editing. But I definitely saw him walking in that scene where they were walking towards the cliff.
That's cool.
I'm trying to think of like when she died. I remember thinking she didn't have a redeeming moment where she was like okay with dying, and that's what kind of bothered me more about it because she literally dies kicking and screaming. So like, here's what I'm trying to say. Usually,
he was ready for Star-Lord to kill her. So
no, but when in that scene, if you were doing it from a filmmaker perspective,
I know
you would have her right before she hits the ground. She'd kind of be at peace for a second, and she'd close her eyes, and then she'd hit. But no, she's screaming the whole way down. So it was like, oh man, it was like more wrenching that way.
I don't
think she didn't want to die when she was falling the whole way down.
I don't think it had to do with her not wanting to die. I think it had to do with the fact that she knew her dying was going to lead to him getting more power.
But that's the thing. She literally died like miserable and
because she
heartbroken.
And before he threw her off the cliff, she tried to kill herself.
Yeah.
Her ultimate plan was done, and she knew that the universe was done for, and she was dying. It's like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah. So I was wow, that's a really awful way to go out.
And she also died just looking really stupid. I mean, again, like Lucas said, as soon as they said sacrifice, I'm like, oh, of course it's going to be Gamora, because we just saw that scene where he adopted her. Obviously, he loves her. Obviously, there's this thing in his heart for her. But he also has this mission, and he's not going to let it get in the way. So she doesn't just not think he's going to kill her. She has that moment of arrogance where she's like, you've lost. This is it. Yep. Sorry, guy. This is the one stone you're not going to get. Which, like, sidebar.
Didn't you love that, though? Like she basically said what the audience thought his character was going to be, and he flipped her and the audience over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's another evil villain. He doesn't care about anything. He's rotten to the core. And it was like, he's not. And they just flipped it.
Yeah,
love that.
That was great.
And
then they had that Snatch nod, that Snatch inside joke, which was kind of cool. I don't know if anyone's seen Guy Ritchie's Snatch, but
it's on my list of movies I need to see because I've never actually seen it.
It's one of the greatest movies, in my opinion, of all time. Like my top 3 of all time. It is.
I'm not a huge Guy Ritchie fan, but I heard
everything he's made probably past Snatch isn't good. Like Revolver, the Sherlock movies, Man from U.N.C.L.E., etc.
I hope you didn't see King Arthur because.
Oh God, yeah, God,
it was so bad.
I was just on a plane from Shanghai, and it was one of the films on my list just to see because I'm on a plane. Oh, it was the worst. It was the worst.
It made the plane ride seem a lot longer.
Oh, 8 minutes in, I shut it off. I was like, "There's no way." I turned on Phantom Thread again. It was that bad. But there's a line that Benicio del Toro has in Snatch, which he has 4 total minutes in Snatch, and it's probably the best 4 minutes of his career, which is saying something. Mm-hmm. And there's a line in that where he says, "Where is the stone?" But he says it with a certain accent. Because obviously in Infinity War, Thanos says, "Where is the stone?" like 1,000 times, right? But he says it with a certain intonation that only if you had seen Snatch would you understand. And it's such a reach for a director or whoever, the writer or whatever, to put in the film as an inside joke. That won my respect for that. Wow. On top of the Arrested Development inside joke, which was really random. And
okay, I have seen Arrested Development. There's always money in the banana. What was the joke?
So there's a blue Tobias. He's in one of the tanks in the collector room. It's in the background.
What?
But
with the
also,
shorts?
Yeah, with the shorts. And in Civil War, in the background of the airport fight scene, there's the Bluth family car, which is that airplane van that they drive around. It's the Civil War scene. It's the same van. Yeah, they put it in there. So it's a weird relationship between Arrested Development and Avengers.
Yeah, and those are the same directors.
Mm-hmm.
Civil War is the same directors.
Yes, the Russo brothers. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So Peter Dinklage.
Oh my God.
Genius.
That was so funny.
Oh my God.
It's that dwarf guy who was a giant from Game of Thrones.
The kind of ironic portrayal of him.
It was just so funny. It's like just seeing Peter Dinklage. See, that's humor that's like funny to me.
Yeah,
it's not like
me
this
too.
hacky, she has an Instagram joke.
Mm-hmm.
It was like clever humor. And then like Thor, the way he kept calling Rocket Rabbit. That was so funny to me.
Kept calling Groot Tree.
Yeah, I thought that was so funny. I laughed every time he's like, "Rabbit."
And him and Chris Pratt going at it was kind of funny too.
Yeah.
Like I thought Chris Pratt had some dumb moments,
Yeah.
but that was a great the first scene when when he's imitating his voice.
He's
that was genius.
Are you making your voice deeper? He's like, no, it's the way I talk.
That was
He did it again.
But the one moment in Infinity War, my least favorite part, also involving Chris Pratt, was the freaking him being angry about Gamora, so he's going to sacrifice the rest of the universe.
Goodness!
Why?
Everyone on Earth. I hope they address that in the second movie. If they address it in the second movie, I'll be okay with it.
Take him off the team. Oh, no,
He's kind of dead. So
did you notice that everyone died except for the original Avengers?
Oh no,
no, that's not true.
Yeah, it is.
The general from Black Panther didn't die.
Or she's the only one. But like she's kind of a side character though. She's not like a main hero.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like he's the main Black Panther dies.
Yeah.
All of
Spider-Man.
the character Spider-Man dies. The Guardians of the Galaxy people dies, Doctor Strange dies.
Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, everyone but the old Avengers.
Yeah.
I hadn't even noticed that.
Yep.
Falcon is dead.
Speaking,
War Machine lived though, didn't he?
War Machine was alive, yeah.
Yeah, War Machine was still alive.
Okay. He was in Iron Man 1 though, so he's been around. But Spider-Man dying. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the best death in the movie.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that hit a soft spot in my heart. I was like,
I know.
Kid. I was like,
everybody thinks Tom Holland is the best Spider-Man ever. I don't exactly agree. But
okay, guys, time for a controversial opinion.
Okay. But his death, when he goes into that little kid mode, it's amazing.
Yeah. He's like, I don't feel so well. I was like, oh no.
Controversial moment here, guys.
Uh-oh.
I honestly didn't feel like that was great acting. I thought he did it overdid it. It didn't feel real to me, and I personally didn't like it. I didn't. I thought it was just overdone.
I thought that was
good.
The most real part of the movie because it, like, I don't know, like. I don't know how to explain it. Because it seemed I know what you're saying, but because it seemed that way, it like I guess somebody said that they just told him to kind of like ad lib that line, and that's what it seemed like to me. That's why I thought it was real. Not real as in, oh, that's such quality acting, but real as in, oh, that doesn't sound scripted.
Yeah. I mean, I
Tom
agree.
Holland was at that age.
Yeah, it wasn't scripted, and I get that, but I think as far as like the performance of I don't know. I just thought he was trying to be way over dramatic, and he just didn't sell it enough for me. I mean, for the fact of the matter is, he knew he was dying, and he couldn't even like produce tears. Like that, I'm not cool with that. I'm just come on, really.
Almost when you think about it, though, he's an adolescent still, and so he hasn't really had the lifespan that like Tony Stark and everyone else has to comprehend. He hasn't had,
which is great to contrast Tony Stark too, because he's had such PTSD. So to watch Spider-Man die in front of him, that was good.
Oh, absolutely.
After he told him to stay home. And then
oh my gosh.
That wouldn't have mattered though, because when he would have died anyway. But he would have died anyways. Yeah,
sure.
But still, it's like he's watching him die now. He's watching him panic and die scared.
And it's his son almost. I mean, he almost has acted like it since Homecoming. It's like this is the boy I take care of and care for and
lecture and get annoyed.
Yeah. It was powerful in that way for me, but also I appreciate Tom Holland's enthusiasm in interviews, and it felt like it was really him. Like I agree. That it definitely felt unreal, but
I'm also just not a big Tom Holland fan in all reality.
Yeah, I don't like him that much as Spider-Man.
I think his voice is super annoying.
When he's British or when he's not.
Little accent.
When he's whatever, anytime he talks,
he exists.
He's
whatever.
He just sounds like
the fact that
the fact that they made a joke about it. The fact that they made a joke about it in Spider-Man: Homecoming and how he sounds like a girl shows how much his voice is annoying. Like I can't stand it. It's so annoying.
Oh, okay.
He's not as bad as the other two, though.
Hey,
I mean, Tobey Maguire.
Don't start that. Everyone always brings up Spider-Man 3.
We're not debating Spider-Man.
Spider-Man 2 is amazing. It is so good. It's a great movie.
Okay, moving on.
We won't talk about the Spider-Man. That could be a whole nother podcast in and of itself.
It really is. I'll fight that battle to the death.
I'm pretty sure we did that on the Homecoming podcast.
Yeah, we probably did it on more than one episode. So let's move on. What else? Anyone have any other notes that they'd like to talk about? I went through mine.
Oh, they shouldn't have been taken down so easily in Edinburgh when they were in Scotland. Vision and I feel like Scarlet Witch, they went down way too easily. For being as cool as they were, I feel like that went way too quickly. Although it did lead into the coolest Captain America introduction, which led into the worst waste of a character I've ever seen, which is part of my beef with Infinity War. I could not. He was great, and just there was none of him.
Yeah, he looked good with that beard too. He's like a new version of Captain America.
Great.
Yeah,
really
I think that Scarlet Witch is definitely undersold. I think that she's
I like seeing her on screen. Just
wait, can we talk about
I
how
really do. She's really
can we
cute.
talk about how she had no accent in this movie?
Wait, did she have an accent?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a Roman.
It was thick. It was like a thick. I think it was German.
Slovakia.
Or she's just now here she's American.
Maybe because she's been hanging out with the Americans so much that her accent's gone. Who knows?
She's a witch. She just morphed.
Technically speaking, her power is alter reality, so maybe she just altered her voice to alter reality to make herself speak.
Vision's like, I'm not taking the accent. Oh, okay.
I do want to talk about how, I do want to talk about how that they're randomly in a relationship. I knew we kind of knew that was going to happen, but the fact that they were just living together and sleeping together, so that was fast. But
when you realize that the time in between the Age of Ultron and this movie is a span of 2 to 3 years, right?
Yeah, I do know that, but without really, I don't really feel there was
from
much,
our perspective, we just haven't seen.
Yeah, there wasn't that much
chemistry grow. I guess is what you're trying to say.
Relationship, and they kind of just expected us to just be okay with it, and I was fine with it because I kind of knew anyway. But when the whole time when they were like, the plan was, we need to destroy the Mind Stone. And then she's like, "No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that." And then when
thank you for bringing that up.
And then when I also like the part when she like joined the fight and Wakanda, and they're like, "Why was she up there the whole time?" I said, "That's a true statement. Why was she up there the whole time?"
Because she was ready to
person on the team.
No, but she was gonna just kill him if things went south.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So let's just.
I was gonna say when it got to that point, and they were she was like, this is the time you have to do it. Like you're the only one. And then she does do it, and then Thanos is like, "Yeah, no, that's not happening."
Well, that was the twist. Now the thing is, I think that the way they did it, they had to do it that way because her killing him had to be like, the whole audience had to be able to say she had no other choice at this point. Because it's like Thanos is right there, and so some people might be like. Oh, well, why'd she wait so long? Well, you have to make it so that it's so obvious she had to do this.
You don't trade
that makes you okay with it.
Here's part of my problem. This is something that I kind of wanted to talk about. I know we're running out of time, but I wanted to mention this. One of my biggest frustrations in this entire movie was the whole Wakanda scene. When Vision is in Wakanda, and they're literally, if they think that destroying the Mind Stone, they believe that destroying the Mind Stone was going to stop Thanos from getting all 6 stones. And they really believe that. So if that's the case, why in the world would you sacrifice an entire army fighting alien forces to save one person?
Yeah,
that's what really frustrated me.
Yeah,
they willingly put the lives of an entire army. They put
the whole movie, but the whole movie revolves around that idea.
Well, and that's Marvel, right? It's the fatal flaw of not being the dudes from that movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie and Morgan Freeman, or assassins from like Assassin's Creed, right? Where the motto is "kill one, save 1,000." Mm-hmm. That's a type of hero and a type of protagonist that the Marvel heroes just aren't. And it's weird. What Lucas said makes absolute sense, because when you think about it from the audiences and the filmmakers' perspective, these are the protagonists. But from like Joe Schmo in New York, right? Mm-hmm. Vision's sacrifice saves a lot of innocent random people's lives, and that's what superheroes exist to do. So when Iron Man says like we don't sacrifice, I was like, you actually probably should, especially because this is a computer program made sentient.
But the interesting part about it though is when you look at it, that the whole movie does that to the whole movie, where it's like kill this person or save everyone else. The whole movie is that's the theme because it happens. Because it happens with Iron Man and Spider-Man and the Time Stone. It happens
I don't think so.
It happens. Yeah, no, it does. It happens with what's the Green Girl's name? Gamora. Yeah, it happens with them, and then it happens with Vision and Scarlet. What's her name?
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
but when it happens with
all the characters.
But when it came to Doctor Strange and Iron Man, there's got to be something more at play because Doctor Strange had already made it clear. I'm not going to hesitate to choose a time stone.
I know. Actually, no. There's a reason why. I thought that. You know
Well,
why he does that? Because he looks into the future and there's only one way that they defeat him,
took
and that's
my
by
point
him
away from
giving him
You
the stone.
Took my point away from
Boom.
me. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Stolen.
The dude said he saw 14 million futures, and there was literally only one way.
One way that we
Okay,
went.
fair enough.
There was one way for it to work, and he even told Tony, he was like, "We're in the end game now. This is the only way."
Mhm.
He said that.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's not an accurate example of what we were just talking about. I would say the whole Soul Stone thing, that was an accurate example. Gamora should just let Nebula die. Let's just be real. Gamora
He
should
really
let Nebula
should
die.
have. I don't know
Oh, yeah,
why.
gosh.
Yeah.
All right. Loki should have just let Thor die.
Well, no.
Just died himself. I mean, and then Vision. I mean, I was sitting there watching that movie and that fight scene when all these guys are fighting these daggone aliens, and I'm sitting here watching.
These aliens were at least good. Like these ones looked good. It wasn't like a bunch of CGI robots.
Yeah,
Like
but I'm
these
just
things,
watching-
it's like Venom orcs. Like it was,
Yeah,
it was
I'm watching
actually intense.
I'm watching them kill all these people. I'm like, how many of these men are dying right now to save Vision, who offered to die and who's gonna die anyways, one way or the other. But like, how many of these guys are just dying for absolutely no reason? They
I think the one big difference is that these men are dying fighting for freedom, like for the world.
Yeah, I don't.
And
think
it's like they don't want to kill somebody. Like we have to kill our own guy. No, we're not going to kill our own guy. We're going to fight. Just like we don't negotiate with terrorists type attitude.
I think that they were thinking that they could honestly, like, stop Thanos, and they're thinking, okay, my small potential sacrifice is not as bad as Thanos not annihilating, but wiping out half of existence.
The stakes
yeah.
The stakes of it is what does make it harder to believe, because if the stakes were, if we don't kill him, Thanos kills all of us, then it would be like, well, we're all gonna fight. We'll all die together, or none of us will die. But since it's we kill him or Thanos kills half the universe, that's when it gets to be a little bit less easy to believe. I would say. So I do get it, but I do think it's kind of a fantasy. It's a superhero story, and this is the way hero stories sort of go.
That's true.
Just like Batman doesn't kill the Joker. It's like kill the Joker. He's
I also
killing
think,
everyone.
I also think, I mean, I think that, like, I know we're all kind of saying, and I do agree, but I think it's probably too because they were trying to get the Mind Stone, it kind of just extract it, which would have killed Vision too. But I think it was just because since Scarlet Witch is the only person with the power to destroy the Mind Stone, and she was just not having it, like she wasn't going to do that. I think that's probably the only reason why our only other option is to kind of fight and do with Plan B, because Plan A was, okay, you just destroy it, we go about our business, yada yada yada. But she was like, I'm not doing that, so they had to.
So she's a selfish one.
No,
well,
she is.
Her motivation makes a lot of sense though, from the perspective of like regular storytelling.
It's a selfish one.
You don't kill.
Sense.
Well, yeah, but. If
I wouldn't want to kill my wife.
If I was married to somebody, like I was just about to say it, like then it's like I've looked forever to find this person, and now I just got to kill them. No, I can't kill. There's got to be another way around this.
Save a bunch of prices. I barely
not real.
taxes in my health for
I
other
don't
people's
think
healthcare.
That's not a fair judgment because Vision's an AI. I mean, he's
I don't
not
think
real.
their relationship.
Well, there's a whole. we could start a whole podcast on whether or not what makes something alive and what makes it not. And
that's
a very
what
simple
Westworld
answer.
Is.
Yeah, it is. So it's like, well, he's just a computer. Yeah, well, you're just cells. It's like,
and I think a large part of it was too. She was like, "Look, I already lost my brother. I'm not trying to lose him too. Like, screw y'all. Y'all can go somewhere."
Yeah,
I don't know. What if Quicksilver was in Infinity War?
What?
That's actually that was the last thing I wanted to slide in here really quick. Is I was
we're gonna wrap up pretty soon.
Incredibly upset that they killed Quicksilver and Ultron. It was such a waste of such a perfectly, incredibly powerful character. And also, Aaron Taylor Johnson's pretty awesome in some.
I like Aaron. Yeah,
that just didn't make sense though that they killed him.
Absolutely.
I don't remember this.
His super speed.
Remember, everyone thought Hawkeye was gonna die, but then
Luke's not gonna remember because
I remember feeling it. That's it.
It was one of those moments where I realized Marvel is a film series where they create characters to kill off to satisfy people who don't like that they don't kill people.
Well, yeah, and it's a cop out because it's like, well, he's new. Like you just brought him this movie to kill him.
Yeah,
he should not have been worse than Evan Peters. I like Evan Peters as an actor. I didn't like what they were going to do with Quicksilver, and the fact that they did such a bad job with the Ultron Quicksilver made the other one look great. And I just think that this film could have been incredible with him in it.
Yeah.
Rip. And I think the fact of just if you break down what his superpower is, enhanced power is, whatever you want to call it, super speed, he should have been able to process what was coming at him and not even flinch, like been out of there way before those bullets even got anywhere near him. True. So it didn't make any sense. It was purely Hollywood. That's all that was. Stuff like that makes me mad.
It was
before we wrap it up.
Contract.
I'd like to get everyone's 1 out of 10 review. Did anyone want to throw anything out really quick before we finish up here?
Just remember this: Infinity War is a part 1. It's not complete.
Yeah.
This is the end. This is how the whole series ends.
Oh, that'd be amazing if it did.
If it ended like this, I would be going.
I'd be really impressed though. I'd be like, "Whew, they're brave."
Yeah, no, it would be great. It'd be great.
But it would be great. It would be great.
Okay, so 1 out of 10.
We didn't even talk about the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel.
Whack,
it was good. It was over. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Nobody cares about Captain Marvel. Most people don't even know who she is.
I know. But
the
cars crashing though. Oh man, that was awesome. There's no one in the front seat, and the helicopter's falling.
Yeah, it was the rapture for.
If you want to see that, just watch the movie Lost. I mean, come on. I mean, not Lost. Left Behind. If you want to see that, just watch Left Behind.
That's right. Yeah, I know. That's a great movie. Am I right, Nicolas Cage? Okay, so let's do 1 out of 10 ratings of the movie. Let's start with you, Shayne.
I knew you were going to say me first. I wasn't prepared.
All right, John, go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
8.5.
Okay. Caleb.
Solid 8.
Lucas.
Initial viewing is definitely a 10. I would say rewatching would probably be about an 8.5.
Okay. And
Wait,
Shayne?
you've seen it twice?
Yes, I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What do you think, Shayne?
Yeah, I don't know. Cause I'm like, I want to say, I don't want to say 10 because I'm thinking hype. I'll give it. Right. I'll have to see it again, just like Black Panther. But initial watching, I'll give it a 9.5.
Can I expound?
Sure. I gotta get my answer, but sure.
I'll give you I just want to expound on mine real quick. The reason I say it's an 8.5 is because it's not a complete movie.
Yep.
And it's by itself, it's not complete. And the initial shock factor of everybody dying and the initial shock factor of everything that's happening is what makes it so great the first time around. But it hurts its rewatchability. That's the only reason
I disagree a little bit because I think that just because the story isn't finished doesn't mean it's a good story. I thought that the movie stands alone as a good movie.
I agree
that
with Luke.
Just all together, it's a part of another story. But I thought it's this is a solid ending. This is a solid way to end this first part. It's like a chapter, I like that. But I would say that this is what all of us are kind of doing, which one review, one number is when I was hyped and I saw it. Now, when I went into this movie, I didn't have a lot of high expectations, except there was a lot of things that I wanted to do. Literally hit every single note I wanted to hit. So I left it at a 10. I loved it. Now, as a movie on its own, I would say it's probably an 8. I would give it an 8. But the viewing experience was incredible. I loved it. I had so much fun watching that movie. So
that much I agree with. Viewing experiences is, and you got to admit, it is part of watching a movie, right? It is your experience.
Mm-hmm.
So many good, 10 out of 10 quality movies don't have that experience with it too. Mm-hmm. The Departed didn't have that, for example. But it is my Deathly Hallows Part 1 though. It totally is. And that was it. I feel like I walked out of that film saying it Jon Snow'd me. It Glenn from The Walking Dead'd me. I feel like the people who don't watch a lot of TV, they're for the first time, maybe some of them, especially younger kids, seeing their heroes die. I've seen my heroes die before. And in this day and age, this isn't Lost where Charlie dying meant Charlie is dead, even though they were all dead the whole time.
Spoilers!
Sorry, y'all. Yeah. I don't care. That was 2006. Get out of here.
Yeah, it was 12 years ago.
But like at the same time, like these days, nobody actually stays dead. Not even on Game of Thrones, the show that is supposed to kill your heroes.
Yeah.
And so I walked out of that film saying, look, Marvel has announced. They said not all these people are going to return the way you think. I don't know if that means zombies or what. And if they do something cool in 4, I will go back and retcon my review and put it at a 10. But I just really feel like most of these guys are coming back.
Right.
Who's got a contract? That's all you got to know.
Right. Yeah, there you go. Like Idris Elba's done. He's out, obviously. He's been complaining since day one.
He's like, I'm trying to play James Bond. I don't have time.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's wrap up this.
One more thing, though. I did like that. No. It's really fast. It's really fast. I just really like that.
It's like a 5-minute, okay, guys, let's wrap it up.
I did like that each group, like the Guardians of the Galaxy people, the Wakanda people, the Avengers people, when they all had their I guess entrances into the film, they kept the style of their individual films.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that a lot. Everyone had their own personality. Yeah. And it wasn't like, all right, everyone's gonna act like this. It's like, no, we're all gonna act like how we are in our own movies, and we're just all coming together.
Yeah, and even with the music playing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, and stop. We have to end because we got people that got to leave and we got to do our outro plugs. So, John, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
I have not.
Okay, Shayne, what about you?
Okay. Yes, I would like to plug my allegiance to Thor because he took the entire power of a star, and I thought that was extremely badass.
Through its chest.
Yes, that was cool. But the Pop Talk podcast, my podcast where we talk about music and all that good stuff. You can check that out on SoundCloud and on iTunes as well. Just search Pop Talk Podcast and follow me on Twitter at Mr. McCatty, MrMCCATTY. And also too, just an update of the musical that me and my little writing group are working on for this summer. We actually we started working on the opening song to the show, and it's going really great, and that's really exciting. I'm actually very, very hyped about that. We were running around Walmart getting ice cream and singing a song that no one knows what it is, and so that was pretty cool. So I'll keep updates on that, and definitely will get that filmed by when we put it up and all that jazz. So,
awesome. Sweet. Okay, Lucas, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Instagram, Twitter, anything like that? Any projects you're working on? Nothing? Okay. Caleb, what about you?
Never plugged something before, but I'll plug my Twitter. Why not? So it's kale, like the hipster vegetable, Kale. Kale Guts. Great. Kale Guts, Guts, Kale Guts. So come follow me. I talk and rant about a lot of things, cinema, the world.
So you're a big movie person, right? So
yeah. Oh no, I'm here in the cinema and TV and criticizing people, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to hurt feelings, but they might have.
No, it's like you gotta have opinions, right? That's one of the reasons I wanted you on this podcast because I knew you had opinions.
Thank you. Great. Well, the world needs more of them these days.
Any other plugs?
No, that's it for me.
Okay. So I am going to plug my Twitter at Luke Roxel. That's LO. Oh shoot, what am I doing? I can't even spell my own name. Well, normally I just spell my last name. I was going to try to spell my first name, but I can't do it. It's too complicated. Luke's a hard name to spell. ROCKSWOLD. And my short film Thread just got released to Facebook on Sunday, and everyone has been so awesome and giving it. It's been so fun. I knew it was going to be fun to release this movie, but after the premiere and the release, it has made all the stress and all the work that went into this movie worth it. It's at over 1,800 views right now, a ton of comments, ton of shares, ton of likes. Everyone's been awesome. So if you haven't watched it,
real quick, in regards to this, I've been watching Luke since he made lightsaber videos so many years ago, which if you are friends with him on Facebook, I'm sure they're still there. He has come a really long way, and this is a really well done film. So just as someone who's watched a filmmaker over the years, this is really cool to see.
It's definitely different from all my other movies. So I appreciate it a lot, Caleb. I really do. A lot of work went into it. Actors did a great job. My writers and everyone I worked with. Shout out to them. And it's been fantastic and awesome. I can't wait to do another movie. So if you haven't watched it, please check it out. I hope everyone enjoys it. That's the end of this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for being on this episode. Tweet at us at WAITSB Podcast with your opinions and thoughts. We would love to hear them. Maybe you'll be on an episode. If you have an opinion, who knows? So thanks, everybody, and outro music.